The key things last time when I reported you I was just concerned to do was to move away from the numeric target which had probably been guiding our activity, the sort of 1500, which was aspirational and certainly has provided an impetus, but there was a degree of arbitrariness about the figure, and also to structure, which I've got within this report, how we're deploying specials across the different business areas and across the different districts again, so there was that more tangible feel to it. So I'll just run almost as an overview for the report, because I know there'll be one or two questions you probably wish to draw my attention to. But in terms of the structures, in the appendices of the report, I've got it broken down by the 5 districts and by Protective Services Ops, how they drop down, how we integrate special constabulary within our team and new operating model. And that's really important because people know where they fit into the organisation, and it means that the excellent work our specials do isn't a bolt-on. It forms part of the daily work now that the force does, and it does indeed do that. The figure we've ended up coming up with, this 1,119, is not a magic figure. It was literally adding all those up, that's what we got to. I don't regard that in one sense as a set in stone figure, a target or anything, but I think it certainly is an important marker in the sand that that's the sort of number of specials we should be having to deliver to what our current planning is. That could change up or down in the future, but it sets it in that sort of context. In terms of the recruitment at the bottom of page 1, you can see that we've had a really good steady uplift of specials, and I make the point because one or two other forces around the country have reported real difficulties in this area, and I think the team that have been doing this have, successfully been bringing month on, new specials through, and then into the training and into the sort of deployment. I know we're probably going to touch into employer supported. I've tried to get one or two sort of just specific areas of work that we're actually looking at. So in addition to those officers being deployed in accordance with the appendices within the team structures, we are looking at some employer supported policing, and that's particularly in Bradford. To be fair to the district, they've always had an interest in this. It's something I've sought to encourage. I give the credit to the district for what they've been doing, and they've a particular interest around Linfield Mount, and maybe come back to that later on, but also they've an interest in doing something with the retail sector and something with the Bradford College and the security around the college and the university. So that's quite groundbreaking stuff. It's got a project lead, PC Alex Alderson, who's mentioned there in the report, and I think that's a piece of work which I will be reporting back to you in more detail at subsequent meetings. Independent patrol is mentioned there, and it really just identifies that we've clearly recruited a lot of people fairly quickly, and so quite a high percentage of our specials are not classified as suitable for independent patrol. I think there's a certain moot point about whether or not they're in that status, because even specials who do have independent patrol status routinely police with a colleague or a regular colleague, and it doesn't in one sense matter from a deployment point of view whether they have that status. What matters from our point of view is that it continues to make sure that our special constables aren't just taken on as an extra pair of hands, but we are looking to train them and develop their sort of skills. So I think where that's currently at the moment, I think is understandable given the numbers we've taken on, and clearly it's a big part of the work over the next 12 months. Leadership, it's just shown as a result of getting the districts to be able to identify what their deployment strategy would be. We've allowed them to also therefore identify what they see as their supervision of officers should look like. So the figures we've come up with there, the 8 additional senior section officers, the 50 section officers, that's really a bottom up again. That's why we've got to those sorts of figures and the distribution as you see them in the table there. I don't think it is one for me to overly prescribe. I've had them present their plans to me, and I would say they all share similar issues, but then there's that natural bespoke to the different district requirements. So clearly something we're going to have to develop. And then just in terms of deployment, I've given some examples there of different ways in which we're deploying. There's obviously the Great Nighttime Economy working with Operation Capital in Leeds city centre. And I highlight the work which hopefully will happen next week, the World Triathlon Series coming into Leeds, where we have deliberately said not only will we'll have a high number of specials at it, it certainly would suit the sort of work they can be used for, but actually having them manage and command the event as well with suitable support from the regular officers. Again, I think this is really important because I think it shows why I think in one sense we've been successful with specials as a force, is they're very much integrating within the force. They are part of the force family, and I think being able to do events of this nature, I think just cements that sort of philosophy. And then a couple of sort of things from some of the sort of specials conference, but I think it's just fair to say that probably be a bit arrogant if we were to say we are the best in the country with specials, but I think it would be fair to say we are definitely leading in that area with one or two other forces at the moment. And the benefit of these conferences is we pick up good work going on in other forces, and indeed there's no doubt people are now picking up good work from ourselves. So that's just a quick overview of the report at that point. I don't know if you want to ask questions at this point or...
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's a really good report. There's a lot of detail, districts and lots of areas. So, I really commend the position that West Yorkshire is in. So that's thanks to a lot of hard work by a lot of people, particularly the specials themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm sure some of the questions Mark will pick up on perhaps some of the other things in the report as well.
Yes.
Well, you've already mentioned the business about employer-supported policing, and you've highlighted a few of the mental health workers, for example, at Linfield Mounds, Bradford College.
Yes.
Is there any more sort of future plans that you've got in place?
I mean, the Home Office at the moment haven't really developed their support for employee-supported policing, and I think that's because it has a lot of potential problematic areas. It sort of starts to stray potentially into these areas of private policing, you could see in that sort of way. So the fact that they haven't been able to develop clear guidelines hasn't held us back from looking at it, but we've got our eyes open to those issues. So I think, this is my feeling for the moment, that where we will take employer-supported policing will be in very focused niche areas and develop quite a bespoke way of special constabulary work with those particular areas. That's my sense of the way it would go. The benefits, I think the choice of Linfield Mount by Bradford is a particularly good one, because Linfield Mount as an institution are very supportive of having their workers trained up. They're going to be 16 hours commitment we look for. 8 will be in the normal policing, in the way we'd have normal specials. So these people will do sort of the ordinary sort of side of specials work for the district. But then the other 8 will be in relation to the work that Linfield Mount and the police do as a consequence, really, of some of the issues concerning mental health patients and what have you at the institution there. So I think it's one of those ones where we step forward and we see how it develops. I think there will be areas we will experience, and then we'll draw back from that. We won't follow that up, and then other areas which I think will feel more natural to do. If I was describing it, it's cohort 1 really, I suppose, is the way I would describe the scheme with Linfield Mount. And then the work potentially with the retail sector in Bradford and with the Bradford College will probably come on the back of that sort of experience. I wouldn't push it up ahead too quickly, but I think there's quite a head of steam in the district to move that. So I think we'll see quite a lot of progress over the next 6 months. I can tell you that Keighley Police Station, we have got a training centre being developed there, right, so that we can do the training that will be required in this area. I mean, what we envisage from the Linfield Mount is that the sort of understanding of policing and police powers for members of staff who are working obviously in the mental health sector will probably result in outcomes in relation to the day-to-day work, which tends to transfer between one organisation and another into a more joined-up partnership. And we're anticipating a significant reduction in overall demand, not just for ourselves, but for Linfield Mount as well. So that's the way we sort of see it going, really. And I think the only thing I'd say to you is, I think as we come back to you in the future, I think we might well be suggesting this might be an area. So when we do the shopping centre, for example, which I think could raise potentially more issues than maybe Linfield Mount, if we can come up with a model that works well around, say, a particular shopping centre, certainly Bradford are looking at it that way, then at that point you'd share that out more widely. And I think if the Linfield Mount works well, there are one or two other health institutions where we can adapt the same model to.
Yeah, no, very good. And you know, cybercrime seems, you know, an area where not only is it a good thing, obviously, for individual employees to do, but it would benefit potential companies that they are working for as well, in liaison with police and law enforcement generally. So the term cyber specials has been around for a while, but I'd like us to progress, try and progress those areas if at all possible.
Yeah, so I'll pick that one up. I think it also might be that's. I think if we just stuck it on the specials, it would limit it maybe, because you could conceive how people could contribute a lot into cybercrime, but they weren't necessarily sworn special.
Or volunteers.
A volunteer sort of side, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, in the report, it talks about the recruitment of 8 additional section officers and 50 section officers in the time frame required. Are we confident that that will be achieved?
It would be easy for me to say yes, no problem, but I think no, there is quite a challenge on that, and I think we're keen to maintain a standard around that, not simply go for it. So we do have a number of very promising people who've joined the specials in the last year to two, but that also means they haven't got lots of experience of being specials. So I think after August I'll be able to give you a more accurate sort of view. We're seeing this probably as a sort of a 12-month piece of work to actually achieve, but the reassurance I would give you really is that we talk about sort of supervision of specials, and there's you can easily think of that very similarly to the regular officers, whereas actually what it says, given the integrated model we run, the actual operational supervision of specials automatically falls underneath the regular supervision of the force. What we're trying to do with the specials is actually give an opportunity. We recognise we've got one or two of our special constabulary who quite clearly bring with them a lot of skills from their life and their other occupations, and so give them some more challenge in that sense, which they would welcome. And we're also recognising that for specials liaison officers in districts, there's an awful lot of work just to manage several hundred people. So we think that some of the administrative support, and that can often be seen as a minor issue. It's not, it's pretty important actually in getting organised when you've got so many people. That's probably where we're going to try and develop it. So it'll be a combination of recruiting more, and you know, we've certainly got some talent to go for there, developing them, because I think we will have to give them some training in relation. That's what we will do. But we'll also find where the right roles of supervision sit best for special constabulary, say, as compared with the other supervision within the force.
Okay. Do we have any plans to maximise on the efficiencies mentioned regarding the Leeds weekend evening economy into the other districts? Yeah,
yes we do, but in a way that would suit different areas. If I was to describe the Leeds nighttime economy as exceptional, and by that I'm not endorsing that you go out for the night there, I'm just saying it is exceptional in terms of its scale and size compared to the other areas. That's in one sense why it's developed to the degree it has done. What we have agreed is that all districts now, we're on a path of training up officers in what I'd call that broad area of public order policing. and allowing the districts to use them sort of accordingly. So for example, Kirklees and Bradford regularly have special constables policing their football matches at that sort of local level. Wakefield are making use of specials, working in partnership with the ambulance service, again in their sort of nighttime economy. So we're allowing it to develop in a sense local to the area in those ways. And over and above that, within the ops area, the intention is to get up to 2 full police support units, PSUs, of capability, so that, you know, when we do have a large football match, as we did with the Millwall Bradford game the other weekend, or a demonstration, we actually mobilise special constables. What we found, although it tends to sit in a specialised area of the force, we found it's an area we can readily train them in, and it's an area which they wish to do in one sense. So we are looking to build on that, but in that way.
Okay, and given that 72% of specials have less than 2 years experience, are we confident that we've got an appropriate, consistent support in place? Does that differ from teams to districts, and have we factored in the full-time recruitment impact on the specials as well?
An excellent question, Commissioner. We've put a lot of support into it, but definitely there's pressure on at the moment, and particularly where the same officers that are involved with specials are regularly involved with the regular recruitment. So I would say particularly in Leeds at this moment in time, I think probably just because if you look at the numbers, they're much higher. The specials liaison officer there is under considerable more pressure. It's something we definitely need to support. I think the absolute will and the priority of doing it is there, but I do think that's probably something, again, I need to come back to you on the next occasion to sort of give you some reassurance that you know, we are meeting all the demands at the moment, and there are a number, as you've had to say.
I mean, I appreciate it's a complex situation, given that we are out to open recruitment for the first time in a long time, and the dynamics that brings. But of course, what we're looking for there is a mix, of course, of specials, PCSOs that want to apply, but equally in the wider community as well. So getting your head around that, I think, might be might take a little while, but it is something we absolutely need to consider. And it is pleasing that the percentage of BME specials in training has gone up again to 13%, which is obviously closer to the 18% proportionality in West Yorkshire.
So I should have touched on that as I sort of went through, because that was one of the key things, is this, the continuing positive trend is continuing and improving. Just on that last question as well, the full specials hub, as we call it, sounds very grand. It's particularly a sergeant and a member of support staff and the PC that provide. They've been concentrating mainly on recruiting, as you might imagine, in recent years. Well, now that we can slow that recruitment down and concentrate on the development, we have just agreed that although the hub was always seen as a temporary position to move the project forward, I think it's fair to say, in the discussion we had at Chief Officer team, was it is still temporary. At some point in the future, it will not need to be there, but for the foreseeable future, you know, the next 1 to 2 years, no, it needs to be there to, you know, to take full advantage of the number of people we've now brought into the organisation. That's a bit of investment there. And just in relation to the volunteers area, we are in the process of sort of moving volunteering more into the force performance improvement area, because your comments last time about Neighbourhood Watch in particular, and the work that Chris Joyce does there. Just want to mention, really more for your information, but just on the final page there, the Explorers programme, which Chris Joyce has been really the pioneer of, we've just agreed that we will look to develop that towards a volunteer cadets programme, so that again we think we can get more out of it for the young people side of it. And that work, we haven't quite decided that yet. I have a feeling that work will gravitate more to our specials hub because it probably has more synergy there. The neighbourhood watch thing, it was something I picked up at the NPCC annual conference on road policing. It's not something we've done a lot of as forces. Community speed watch, and recognising that probably a lot of neighbourhood watches in the past have been predicated around burglary and household security, which probably I think is not the same issue as it once it was. The opportunities maybe to develop community speed watch within neighbourhood watch has been a good way to, you know, give it a reinvigoration and a new focus that's probably more relevant to a lot of people who would be interested in that. So I have had a meeting with Chris Joyce about it, and as I say, we're in a process of moving it into that sort of area. So that's just where we are with that at the moment.
Yeah, thanks for that, because I mean, when you look at the neighbourhood watch numbers, I mean, Bradford is overrepresented compared to the other areas. Yeah. Albeit, you know, obviously we welcome anybody that's in a neighbourhood watch, and I think that's because of their, is it the OWL, one of the reasons that
they've been piloting the OWL programme, so it just facilitates it a lot easier.
Yeah, but you know, these are willing, sort of untapped volunteering capability that we need to think how we utilise more really for those that want to.
Yeah, I mean, I think the work around police volunteers, you know, it's not quite as advanced as some of the specials work we've done, and we've got some good volunteering work, but it's spotting these sort of opportunities, and as I say, trying to have a bit of a strategic focus to concentrate on certain things helps actually get it there. So.
Yeah, but there's nearly, as you point out, it's nearly 3,300 neighbourhood watch and 5,600 other volunteers. That's nearly 4,000 people working with us in a voluntary capacity.
Yeah.
I don't think we've even mentioned all the volunteers we have around the sporting events, have I, there either?
Yeah, no, you know, they provide a really valuable resource.
In conclusion, there's a lot of really positive things, and although I get to present the report and the good things within it, we've got some one or two key people who are really, I think, really keeping us at the vanguard of what's going on in this area, and really, you know, looking at very different ways of doing things, and so, you know, some good work that hopefully will continue to develop.
Yeah, no, thanks very much. That's a positive report, and we just need to be thinking of new ways, I suppose, all the time of how we best utilise what are a very valuable resource, and we thank them obviously for the volunteering that they do for us. So, no, thank you.